Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. This is going to be a video response to the one and only, my brother from another mother, Mr. Billy Hurst. This is his 500 subscribers contest. And yeah, I mean, I don't have to say much about Billy. I mean, anyone who's really actively involved in the VC on any level, I mean, you've stumbled across Billy, interacted with him, seen his awesome videos, and the kind of the whole nine. So, yeah, Billy's an absolute great guy, and a lot of times people naturally say that when you are talking about someone. It's like the nice and polite thing to say, and it's almost kind of like a reaction that we say all the time. But like, totally, completely, and genuinely, Billy is a freaking awesome guy. I've had a chance to hang out with him in person a few times, and he's one of those type of guys. Just when when you just are around him, his energy and his passion, especially when you get on, start talking about music. I mean, he'll just lock you in and just have your energy levels at peak for hours at a time. So just a really, really great and positive guy to be around. That's something we definitely need in the world a lot more these days. It's just positive people. So yeah, Billy, man, congratulations. Happy, I guess, somewhat belated birthday. It's about 2 weeks ago. I think your birthday was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And yeah, dude, just, proud to call you a friend without question. So let's just kind of jump right into his question, which it was, again, a kind of a nice, straightforward type of question, which was good. It required me to do a little bit of thinking because a lot of it, or the answers were kind of based off of years that stuff was released. It was 4 albums that were released the year he was born, which was, I guess, 1974. And then he wanted us to show 4 albums that were released the year that we were born. And then 4 or so of our favorite country albums, and kind of explain why. So one thing that I'm not very good at when it comes to, my obsession with music, there's a lot of things that I do know, but the one thing that I don't keep a lot of off the cuff, off top of the head type of knowledge is like the years of albums and like who was collaborating with what. When it comes to this guy used to be in this band and he came over in this band and they blah blah, like that stuff just, it never set with me as like this huge interest. It's kind of all the other wacky, weird things about that album or that song, or when the artist talks about like what they were thinking or what was happening in their lives when they wrote that song, and like where it came from. That's the kind of stuff that I just like fill my head with and know just so much random useless knowledge about. But years I'm not very good with. So I kind of went back into my database, which is nice as Excel, and just kind of rearranged everything. So I got the years pulled up, and that made it a little bit easier. So let's start off with Billy here. Billy, so again, 1973, and just kind of 4 great albums from 1973. Now, I mean, there are a few, because, I mean, there's some Sabbath stuff in there and things like that. So, again, I tried to pick things, well, I was going to try to pick things that I thought everyone wouldn't pick, but I think a couple of them still might be pretty common. But anyway, here are the 4 that I came up with to honor the year Billy was born. Start off here with Lynyrd Skynyrd. And this is Second Helping, I'm sorry. And of course, I mean, it's like, how can you not include that in the discussion, considering this is the album that Sweet Home Alabama is on? I mean, come on, one of the most classic tracks of all time. A lot of other great stuff too, but obviously that's probably the most well-known song by Lynyrd Skynyrd. So that's definitely what nod I have to give find a safe place to sit these. To Billy there. Next, I'm gonna go with my girl, Linda Ronstadt. And of course, I don't have this on vinyl yet. Still looking for a nice mint copy of that, but I'll share the CD with you. And this is Heart Like a Wheel. And of course, Linda doing her great thing, but this has the song You're No Good, which is, one of Linda's absolute classics. And also When Will I Be Loved. So 2 huge hits for Linda. And again, that's a nice one to represent your year of birth. And of course, the man himself, Mr. David Bowie. You got Diamond Dogs. That's one you definitely have to pull out to represent the year. And again, all kind of great songs on this too. I mean, it's David Bowie, Diamond Dogs. I mean, what else do you need to say? So definitely have to throw that one there. And then last but not least, you know, sometimes when people talk about, you know, they say great albums, like sometimes, especially people in the music business, when they say that, they'll be talking more about a single than a complete album from back to back, which is not what I mean when I say album. But I thought I would kind of do that because I think this is one that I just really felt like, I also think it's one of the best songs that came out during that time period, even or that year, even though it's not necessarily the greatest album from front to back. But it's the one and only George McRae, Rock Your Baby is the name of the album, and it's also the name of the title track, which is one of the, oh gosh, I love that track so much. It's just, it's not even funny. I mean, we talk about top, you know, 100 songs on my own personal list or something like that. This song is definitely in there, and you know, somewhere in the middle of that list. It's just a great mixture between kind of the disco feel that was somewhat going on at the time, as well as the R&B feel, and it's just, the song just flows, man. It makes you, I mean, I've never done drugs in my entire life, but sometimes when like you really get lost in that song, it's like, oh, this is what it must feel like just to kind of be floating on the cloud and just, you know, swaying in that place, if you will. And I love that song to death, so I had to include that as one of the greatest from that year. Again, song, not necessarily album, because the album overall is kind of very average, but that song's killer. So that's from Billy's year. I am a few months older than Billy, so my year would be 73. So let's just kind of dive in. And again, I didn't want to stay too common, but there were some here that were just too big where I just felt like I couldn't pass them up at all. So 73. Again, need I say more? I'm sorry, trying to get the glare out of there. Need I say more here? That's a given. Let me move these. And here's another reason why I think I was probably born in 1973. Because I'm sure this probably came out, I didn't look it up, but it wouldn't surprise me if this came out, you know, January or whatever in 73. And then my parents listened to it. And then I was born 9 months later in late 73. I mean, Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On. I mean, come on. Really? Awesome. Another great one from 73. What's oftentimes referred to as the other Queen of Soul with Aretha Franklin, Roberta Flack, Killing Me Softly. I mean, yeah, just Roberta. She's amazing. And I think as big as much of a name as she is, I still really feel like she's never gotten credit for just how amazing she was. But so definitely have to throw that one in there. And let's see, where are we going here? Okay, fourth one here, or third one, I believe. Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. Again, one I just couldn't pass up. So another great, great 73. And last but not least, you have to include The Purple. I mean, come on, Live in Japan. I think most of the songs were recorded in 1972, and I think it was released in 73, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, Deep Purple, Live in Japan. And I mean, of course, you start talking about 73, 74. I mean, there's just so many albums in that time frame that you could choose from. So then, last but not least, the third part of Billy's question was show 4 or so of your favorite country albums, and then kind of explain why. So I did try to narrow it down a little bit, and well, I got my 4, but then I also had 2 honorable mentions that I kind of felt like I have to mention. So one of the honorable mentions is Willie Nelson, The Red-Headed Stranger. Now, why do I like this album so much? Quite frankly, it's the feel of the album. You know, I always say if you go out and buy a copy of this album, you really want to make sure that you get a very, very nice, clean pressing of it. I mean, very, very clean. This is one that you should certainly be searching for a, you know, a near mint to mint copy, because the album is so soft and so quiet. I think any, you know, pops or crackles or whatever actually can take away from it a little bit if it's too much. And that's kind of what I like about it. It's just such a, you know, just kind of a laid back type of album that you think about, you know, laying your head back on a stump and pulling your cowboy hat down over your face and just kind of, you know, letting it, just letting it go from start to finish. So that's kind of an honorable mention I had to put in there. The other honorable mention is really just kind of all things Johnny Cash. I just pulled out the American box set here. Because pretty much everything inside of here I like. And even with Johnny Cash, I mean, much like I was saying with McRae, there's not really like one or two Cash albums that I think like, you know, this album from front to back is just the epitome. I just find as I bounce around all of Cash's stuff, going from album to album, from his early stuff to his later stuff, I just always find great things in that mixture that I like. So just really more so Cash as an artist, you know, I listen to as much as anything, especially these American recordings. You know, stuff like, you know, Hung My Head, or his cover of Depeche Mode's Personal Jesus, or the cover of Nine Inch Nails' Hurt, which I think is one of the top 5 covers of all time. I mean, so I have to at least mention Cash, even though I don't have a specific record for him. Now, the 4 that I picked, oh, no, I'm sorry, I got one more honorable mention. Sorry about that. Actually, no, we'll say I picked 5. 5 that I listen to a lot and I really, really love. Kitty Wells. And again, this, I kind of like Cash. I can't even really say that this one album right here is my favorite album, because I love all of her albums. And it's much of the same thing I was saying about Willie Nelson. I just love the feel of her albums. It's just good old-fashioned, down-home, you know, country living, country heartbreak, and just a certain element of just innocence, and coupled with, you know, making it through life kind of thing. And I've always been one that's just been very partial to songs, and I get really connected with songs that talk about that subject matter. Even stuff like, you know, like John Cougar Mellencamp, you know, songs like Small Town, or even more so Rain on the Scarecrow. Like, I listen to those songs and the lyrics, and it just gives me chills, because I just really feel like that's the heart and soul of America, or, you know, people that have those type of values, if you will. So Kitty Wells just brings that out in almost every single album I've ever heard by her, and that's why she's one of my favorite country artists to listen to. Let's see here. Actually, next, let's go to Luke Bryan. Definitely my favorite modern day country artist. I'm trying to get glares out of there, sorry. And I wish they would release this on vinyl. But yeah, Luke Bryan here. We got Tailgates and Tan Lines. I mean, outside of just the music being good, I love his freaking voice. I mean, it's just it's a great voice. I mean, it's very country without over exaggerating, in my opinion, without over exaggerating it and trying to make himself more country. It's you know, he can sing, but it also has that good old boy grit, and I don't know, just between that and just the music itself, I love Luke. So songs on here like Kiss Tomorrow Goodbye, or High on Summertime, or, you know, stuff like that, I love it. I'm sorry, not High on Summertime, Drunk on You. I always make up my own title for that song. Yeah, but this entire album right here is just fantastic. I listen to this all the time. Next, we're going to go to my girl, Alison Krauss and Union Station. Another just fantastic album. As far as vinyl, this is definitely the one country vinyl album that I spend the most. And as far as what I like about Alison Krauss and Union Station, I think that Oh Brother Where Art Thou is one of the best soundtracks of all time. So just saying that, obviously Alison Krauss and Union Station did a ton of stuff on that particular album, so it's no surprise that I would like their individual stuff. But this here is just really great because, again, Alison's voice is beautiful, but at the same time, even Union Station without her is just amazing. I mean, it's just a nice flow between some stuff that's almost poppy to going back to really bluegrass, down-home stuff, and just kind of a perfect mixture of everything in between. So this is an amazing album, start to finish, one of the song for song, an amazing album. So if you haven't heard that, make sure you check it out. Next up, really an artist I discovered just really in the last maybe 6 or 7 years, but she's been around forever. But Lucinda Williams. And again, I like a lot of her catalog with different songs here and there, but overall, this would probably be my favorite album by her. And this is West. And Lucinda, kind of the same thing. I mean, she's been a good down-home country artist for a long time. But on this album, again, there's this sweet mixture between some stuff that kind of pulls in some elements of modern day music, but staying within her country roots. So more so not her adjusting to the song, but her doing her thing, and you can see some of the new elements kind of adjusting to her, if that makes sense. So songs like Are You All Right? I mean, it's vintage her, but there's kind of a modern day ballady feel to it. And even songs like Words, which may be one of my top 3 songs by her. As she's singing that song, it's almost like this this hip-hop type of vocal delivery that she's doing with. Now, she's not rapping and the words aren't rhyming and everything, but it's just, it's a feel. You can definitely tell a type of hip-hop influence is in there in terms of what hip-hop artists do. But so it's just really neat stuff like that to me. And again, don't listen to it and expect to hear, Jay-Z or something. But like I said, it's a feel is what I'm talking about. And that's really what I like about this album. Is it really just kind of has her in all these different diverse directions surrounding what she does so well. So that's definitely one of my favorite country albums. And last but not least, I could almost pick any album by this artist, but I went ahead and went with Hell Among the Yearlings here by the one and only Gillian Welch. Again, another artist that they need to get on vinyl and fast. I think her most recent album that came out just a few years ago, that one's on vinyl, but none of her earlier stuff, which is obviously her best stuff. But why do I like Gillian Welch? A lot of the exact same reasons I was talking about Alison Krauss and Union Station. When you look on the credits, a lot of the songs on the Oh Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack, you'll see Gillian Welch. Matter of fact, there's a couple of songs where Gillian Welch was doing a collab with Alison Krauss. So, I mean, yeah, she just, that pure down-home spirit in a modern-day way. I mean, I love it, and love her voice, too. Favorite song off of this album is definitely Whiskey Girl. I think that's just a very moving song. It's slow, soft, yet so freaking powerful. So that's one of the songs I would definitely recommend checking off of this. Whiskey Girl, another good song is Miss Ohio off of her other album. Another great one to check out if you're not familiar with her. But yeah, really, really good stuff. So there you go, Billy H, man. Albums from your year, albums from my year, as well as some of my favorite country albums and why. So as always, VC, thanks for watching. Always great to see you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.